Yeah, that's interesting because I totally see what you're saying, and I completely agree with your reading of it. This sort of like he has like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you're saying he has this sort of call to rationality in the moment where he's disappointed with himself, but then sort of gives in to the imagination
That's what
and
I
is
think.
seduced
Yeah.
by the mermaids. Which, so okay, so I had been looking at it differently. That particular scene before he actually meets the mermaids, and I think our two perspectives might actually like match well. Like I don't think they're at odds with each other. They might actually be pointing like two parts of the same idea. So I was thinking like he's a daydreamer, he's withdrawn, he's singing crazy songs all the time. So there's this sense of him being this creative person who's like easily distracted. Like there's not a place in his life for these creative urges to really manifest themselves.
That's what I
So
was
he's
thinking.
always
Yeah.
he's always off somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so he's coming back with the roebuck with the deer, and he's annoyed with himself. Let me see. I wanted to get into the specific language here. Um, as he's walking back towards the village, his thoughts are not with his bride. Instead, his mind is wandering in the strangest of places. So he's being kind of seduced out.
Mm.
Um, and he reaches this footbridge, which you're right is very much like a "Are you going to cross?" It's a liminal space.
Mm.
Um, and it says the moon had already risen, and he became annoyed with himself for being so late and missing the chance to spend the evening with his bride. Um, I'm trying to like enter into, oh, and then it says later, like in the next sentence, it describes the stream and the moon and the waters, and it says what he saw slowed him down and he grew melancholy.
Mm.
So you have this guy who's been like out in the woods, hunting, not thinking of his wife, his mind wandering into the strangest of places, his creativity kind of going wild.
Mm.
And a lot of guys before they get married, like there's uncertainty. There's some sort of a subconscious, unconscious, you see that rear its head in guys that like have they cheat on their fiance the night before, that they hook up with like the stripper that got hired for their bachelor party or whatever. Like there's
Mm.
something in them. There's some sort of a wildness in them that will not be, I don't want to say tamed because I don't want it to be like you're tamed when you're married, but there's something that won't submit to the union, you know.
Mm.
Um, and here we see sort of his craziness, his creativity, um, the thing he doesn't have room for in his life. He's been caught in that all day out in the woods, out hunting, and he's coming back, and there's a sense of like melancholy of like, oh, I didn't get to spend my chance with my wife. I'm really sad. And like I just feel the sense of this guy who doesn't have uh, a chance in his life to really go with these creative things, and feeling sad and feeling bad about himself and feeling like, oh man, I'm always crazy, Veri. I'm always having these
Mm.
weird dreams. What the
Mm.
fuck? Who even am I? And he just gets melancholy and sad. And he's like, which is sparked by the moon and the water. It's sparked by the
Mm.
already kind of mysterious vibes going on, and
Yeah.
his previous state that he carries in, and that sort of gets him sad and like, sort of leaning over the water where he starts hearing the music. And then everything you say, he hears it, it gets louder, he hears it more, it gets closer, it gets louder, he gets closer, suddenly he can see, suddenly they're there, suddenly they can talk. Suddenly she's touching him. Suddenly there's like direct person to person contact through the eyes. Like it's definitely a very call and response, like seduction of this guy into the water and away from this world, this life, this woman that he, kind of tie it back into that unwilling bachelor vibe. This woman that he's wooed and chased after and fought the suitors off of, and why would he all of a sudden abandon her? Like there's some element of his life that is not brought into this particular marriage, because otherwise there wouldn't be anything, that any part in him that would feel melancholy, that would feel sad, that would feel pulled away to um to these mermaids, to these sort of imaginary, maybe pagan, maybe spirits of the land, spirits of
Mm.
the water, definitely not in a church, um, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so yeah, the call for rationality, the call for strength, and also the need to acknowledge. and feed the parts of ourselves that aren't easily fit into our lives so that they don't hijack us in these ways and they don't ruin us when we are trying to make a leap into some new way of being.
Yeah.